The NDP has finally announced the makeup of the technical working groups that will be meeting to decide the regulations that will make up the guts of Bill 6, the Enhanced Protection for Farm and Ranch Workers Act. Remember, that bill was passed at breakneck speed in the face of rallies and outrage from rural Alberta. And now, a whopping 6 months later, the NDP get around finally to setting up the regulatory part of it all. This is the sort of thing that should have been done before the bill was passed. How could the NDP draft and pass legislation without knowing what the legislation would look like in the end? That's just not how it's done. Well, never fear, the NDP had a plan for that from the very beginning. And a backup plan for that plan in case that plan failed. Here is plan number 1. Stack the technical working groups with NDP friendlies. To absolutely no one's surprise, the technical working groups are stacked with union activists. Just looking at the technical working group for labor relations with a total of 12 members, there is one person from the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, another researcher from the Alberta Federation of Labor, one in labor relations for the United Nurses of Alberta, and one union labor lawyer. There are only 4 actual farmers in that group. In fact, some farmers now have started vetting the makeup of these panels on Facebook, and I admire their healthy distrust of what the Ministry of Agriculture considers to be official biographies of some of these people. The Western wheat growers, after the announcement, came out with an epic statement. These guys have the NDP figured right out. Their statement said, "So today the government announced on a Friday before the May long weekend, while grain growers are still seeding, the 6 chairs of the working groups, which include a specialist in grievance mediation, a professor and labor mediator, a certified professional facilitator, and 3 lawyers, not a farmer to be seen." Beyond the chairs, 78 working group members were announced, with 23 being part of the Ag Coalition, which means the Ag Coalition's representation of over 97% of the ag sector in Alberta will represent 29% of the government working group tables and 0% of the chair positions. Farmers expected this all along, so did I. We all knew that's what was taking so long to get this process underway. Thousands of farmers had volunteered for this process, but we now know that farmers were turned away and excluded so that union activists and NDP loyalists could sit on the technical working group panels in their places, sitting there deciding the fate of another man or woman's farm from their safe and comfy union positions. But if that plan didn't work out, what would happen? What if that 29% farmer minority on these panels talked so much good old-fashioned farmer common sense that they changed the hearts and minds of enough union activists and NDP loyalists so that the balance of power was swayed to benefit the farmers? Well, never fear. Ag and Forestry Minister O'Neil Carlier has a plan for that too. You just knew he did. Just listen to this exchange from the NDP press conference where the finalization of the technical working groups was announced.
You have in your own mind a set standard that you want to be met, right?
Looking for that input from the industry, right? I think
yourself going into this, there's a level of safety that ultimately you want to see met.
If we can achieve, yeah, absolutely right. If we can achieve that.
What if this board does not come back with what you feel meets that standard? Will you then impose your own decision?
We have a lot of opportunity to work with these groups. They're going to have technical experts, to be able to advise them on there. So I don't envision that. I suppose it might be a slim chance of that scenario, the possibility, but it's going to be very slim.
Carlier doesn't rule out imposing his own rules if the groups don't come back with the findings he and his NDP government want to see. He says there is a slim chance, those are his words, that he could impose his own rules. I imagine, though, Carlier is pretty confident it won't have to come down to that. He stacked those panels with union activists, remember? So why are we doing any of this? This is just a phony show meant to trick people into thinking the NDP are being open and transparent. Well, I have a higher opinion of farmers than the NDP does. I know they aren't stupid enough to fall for this. This whole process was a sham. It's always been a sham. From the NDP's first meeting with the Alberta Federation of Labor about Bill 6 just days after being elected. This bill was always about pleasing their union friends. This has never been about farm safety. Never. The whole process has been predetermined from the very beginning. The rest of it has all been theater. The NDP think they're fooling farmers. They aren't fooling anyone. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.